So I really love to work. I always have. When I was a kid, I helped my dad. He was a maintenance man on a Girl Scout camp, and so we all kind of worked together and helped him. I couldn't wait till I could make my own paycheck. I did things like babysat and that kind of thing, but the first time I was like on the payroll, of course, I worked on the Girl Scout camp. I worked in the business office when I was 15. I was so excited about that. It's just kind of who I am. I love to work whether somebody's paying me or they're not. I like to work hard. I work fast. I like to be efficient. And don't think that I don't also love to relax, because part of why I love to work hard is so then I can relax and read books and lose track of time, or drink wine and talk to my friends for hours. So it's all about balancing for me, but I'm a hardworking person. I got that from my parents. So I never really related to people that constantly talked about, like, oh my God, it's Monday, or you say, oh, how are you doing today? Oh, it's almost Friday. It like never made sense to me. For one thing, because I don't know, like I tend to think of paid work and life work as continuous in a way, and it doesn't start or stop. And I didn't hate it. It's just such a big part of life, something you can be proud of what you accomplish, what you do. So I have to say that recently I realized that feeling had kind of come to an end for me. I was in a job that I've been doing for a long time. It was a very meaningful job, very high-level job. I was very well paid for it. But I realized that term daily grind, like I was in it. I had been working for 12 years. I felt like I was answering the same questions over and over again. I was doing a 45-minute commute, leaving my community in York. I was hardly ever home. I started to think of my office, which was kind of a privilege to have an office. It was like this little box with this window on it, and I realized it was time. And so I decided, I called it retirement. I'm a little bit too young to retire, but I just felt like I'm retiring from this level of work, this feeling that you have to just keep going, and I'm in a position that I was able to do that, although not 100% confidently, but I decided to do it. So I gave my employer a year's notice, and they asked me for a little bit more time, so it gave a whole new feeling to the term daily grind, because I was done, but I was still working. And so part of how we made it through that, and I say we, because myself, my wife, and my best friend, we had a year and some months to go through me talking about my daily grind. So we did that, and we survived that by having bubbly, not champagne necessarily, but bubbly sparkling wine at the end of each month as I finished it. So as I was coming near the end, which was April of this past year, my granddaughter, who is now 15, she's talking to me about, she's super excited because she can work. And I'm like, yes, it's so exciting. I know that feeling. And I was like, you should be a lifeguard. And she's like, okay, I'll be a lifeguard. And so I get the information for her and help her sign up for the certification course, and helping her get ready for the prerequisite test, which she could do with no problem because she was on a swim team, but she was nervous about it. So we're talking about that. And in some crazy moment, I'm like, oh, I should be a lifeguard too, because I had done it probably 25 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I should do it too. And she's like, yeah, that'll be fun. And so I registered for a lifeguard certification course, which cost $300. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, oh, I guess that means I need to get a job as a lifeguard, right? If you're going to pay all that money. And so it turns out that the exact same week that I'm having appointments with doctors to learn about what it means that I have arthritis in my hands and my feet, that same week I'm spending 20 hours in the pool at the YWCA with 15-year-olds yanking me out of the pool and me yanking them out of the pool. And I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? I survive. I get certified. And so then I'm thinking I probably should get a job lest I waste all my money. And so I have been a lifeguard all summer, which is why I have this fabulous tan. And it's been interesting. I will say that back to when I decided it was time to stop the job I was in, there were three things really on my mind. And one of them was just be done with the daily grind, I would say. Another was that I wanted to come back to York. I live in York, but I was commuting out of York. I was never home. I just wanted to come home to my community. And I also need more time to spend with my parents. And so when I got this lifeguarding job, I was like, okay, this is going to be some income for me, and I have some flexibility because I need to spend more time with my parents. And so I'm doing that. On Labor Day, I'm going to retire from my lifeguarding job. But I would say that in the meantime, it's been very interesting. So as a lifeguard, people pretty quickly notice that I'm older than the average lifeguard, which also was the last time that I lifeguarded, but now more so. They have lots of comments to make for that. Some of them pity me, like, oh, it must be so boring when nobody's here. And some are envious, like, you get to swim when nobody's here. And then other people are compassionate. Oh, are you on a double shift today? When do you get to eat? Take as much time as you need to go to the bathroom. Things like that. So it's all over the map, but it's interesting to me that they think they need to comment about my life and my job all the time, much more than any other job that I've had. But recently, I was with my parents, and I was talking about my lifeguarding job, and my dad said, my dad has dementia, and so minute to minute, he doesn't really know what's happening. But he said to me, he's like, oh, are people nice to you there? And it struck me as really odd because he doesn't really ask me questions about myself because he's just so confused. And I told him stories about what people do and how they drink when they're not supposed to and this and that. And I was driving home later and I thought, oh, my dad is worried about whether people are being nice to me at work. And it made me think back to when I lived with my parents after I graduated from college and I worked at a group home for adults with intellectual disabilities. And a person had started to aggress towards me, and I would come home and say, oh my gosh, Conrad's pulling my hair and he's kicking me. My dad's like, kick him back. And I was like, we can't do that, Dad. And he's like, kick him in the shins, they'll never know. And I thought, here it is, 40 years later, and my dad still wants to make sure that people are being nice to me when I'm